more. And it kind of touches the point of coaches as well, but I'm going to be like straight up and say that G2 and GamerLegion should swap coaches. And all 4 parties will do better. I think, yes. Yes.
My favourite part is this, Maui, before we let him get into it. It's not even like you're supposed to first of all go, Ash, what would I? No, I like the way in his scenario, even though I don't know why, Taz is just required to go to GamerLegion now. That's the part I don't get. Can't Taz just go like another team?
Financial settlement.
All right, I see. Okay.
The thing is like, just straight 1-for-1. But
I'd also love to be in like Kassad's org where he's the general manager. You wake up, Maui, and it actually is like that Luka Doncic shit. You wake up like,
no,
what the fuck? I've been traded. No, you're trading Taz. Like he's waking up one morning. Oh, hey Taz, here's your ticket. You're off for GamerLegion.
That was the worst fucking trade in NBA.
I didn't even agree to this deal. Well, I've traded you anyway, so you're off to GamerLegion. See you at the major, dickhead. Lol. Give us the reasons then. Give us the reasons why everyone, including Taz, would benefit from going to GamerLegion.
Everybody would benefit.
Why this is. Come on.
All 4 parties.
Come on.
First of all, Ash has developed himself into a top tier coach. We can agree to that, right?
That one.
He did things with teams that most people wouldn't do. Like he made, even now, as we are speaking, they're doing well on.
They're probably going to make playoffs. Yeah, it looks like.
Yes. Did they make playoffs? Yeah, or was it 2-1? I'm not sure.
They haven't made it yet, but they look like they're going to, don't they?
Yeah. It looks like they're going to make it. Even if they don't make it, they're super close to it. They went from the first stage. They went to the major. They went this and there. They were 1 game away from the playoffs in Kato, I believe, and it was a close game. And the bottom line is like he's doing a really good job with young players, new teams, with an organization that's, from what I'm understanding, all right. Like not great, not bad. Like but okay for young players, not too bad, right, at all. Right now, he's outgrown that. I feel like he's outgrown that, and if he doesn't understand that, very fast he's gonna miss his window. He's gonna miss his window to upgrade himself, and I know that because I'm speaking from the experience. He's going to miss his window. He's going to end up stuck in a position where he cannot get out of, and then his stock will drop over time. Some of it his fault, and some of it other people's or teams or orgs. Going into G2 for him would be a massive and a right step in the step forward, right? Because he would get again the young team, relatively new, put together, that he can pretty much the same type of environment, just in a massively better organization and much better players. Okay. No divas, no extra mega superstars. m0NESY is as good as he is. He's still a kid. He's still half a rookie. Like what is it like? What's the next after in college? The second year. Sophomore. Whatever. So yeah. That thing, right? Yeah, he's there. True. He's developing into a superstar, and he can help him. He's good with people, from what I understand. He's good in the game, and it would be a massive fucking thing for him. Now, when it comes to the other side, Taz would go to a much younger team as well. The team that does not have that much expectations as G2. And then he can maybe take the actual reins of the team and implement his own system based on the experience that he had in G2, based on the things that happened, based on the last, couple of years. I don't even remember how long is he the coach. And then work with the young kids, obviously, because he has the experience, the name, whatever. And the expectations of that team are not that high, like they're in G2 and other top-tier organizations. So the pressure will be off him, and just he can do the work easily without being, just criticized all the fucking time, which is a normal thing when you are a part of a big team that expects you to win, right? And then GamerLegion, they get the least, of all 4, but they would still get a decent coach who can work with players, who can, replace Ash, even though he's a little bit older, but much more experienced as a player, because Ash wasn't a player. He doesn't know all of these things. He knows a lot of things, but this part of the human side, he doesn't know, right? And then G2 would prosper from that. They would benefit from that, and then the players in GamerLegion would get a figure that they could, again, respect. They could learn from. They can develop together, and all 4 parties essentially would be, kind of satisfied. And I think it would benefit them all.
I mean, this is going to be the biggest paycheck that Taz is probably going to get ever as a coach, so I don't think it's going to benefit him financially. But in terms of fitting his skill set and allowing him to learn in an environment that isn't as high pressure and demanding as G2's, it would be better. It would have been. I just think this. It would have been nice to see Taz and Snacks work their way up legitimately through the space back to earn this level on G2, to earn this kind of contract, to earn the right to play with Monacy, as opposed to being gifted it through obvious nepotism, which now has drawn my ire and many other people's in the communities. Sure. Because the GamerLegion run that Snacks has, and people are gonna be like, he made it to the major. It's like, he only made it to the major because the 9 Pandas team didn't have their visas. Yes. Like, it was through a technicality that he actually qualified to the major with a core of players that were in the grand finals of the previous major. Like, that's how tough it was for Snacks to get it together as an in-game leader. And Taz, on the other hand, he did some stuff with Honoris. They had no notable results. They weren't like an upset team or anything like that people were talking about in tier 2. So that's why this has been so ridiculous. I like the take because it benefits Ash and it benefits Ash, it benefits G2, it would only benefit GamerLegion if they made money off of selling Ash. The one person this doesn't benefit is Taz, because I think in tier 2, or this isn't tier 2, it's like a tier 1.5 roster, he would just get completely exposed, and GamerLegion would likely lose a lot of their identity and their strengths as a team.
But this way, I actually think Kassad did a better job than people realise on this one, because the part that I laughed at is actually what makes it the true hot take, Maui. Because the hot take really is that it would be better for Taz to actually go to GamerLegion, right? Because if you just say Ash should be like the coach of G2, I think a lot of people actually would probably agree with that community right now. I think actually that rep's sort of gone. So the real angle that he's doing here, which I sort of get, is, look, financially and rep-wise, it obviously wouldn't help Taz to go to GamerLegion. But I actually know what Kassad means. If he had got, it's like what you're saying, if he'd gone to a team like that and proven it with unknown players and made them like more than the sum of their parts, like Ash himself has, the difference then is, even if you then fail, like, one of the reasons why experts don't hate on Snappy like fans do for Falcons is, look, they think Falcons was a complete failure, but they understand he literally did earn that from all the shit he did at Enso those years before. Like, that absolutely meant he was deserved to have a shot, like the classic David Moyes one, Kassad, where you get to go to Man United and you get the big club. Even if you fail, as long as you earned it, people feel like it's okay, though. You can give that guy that chance. By the way, it's happened loads of times with England managers, Roy Hodgson, etc., where you have like a good manager and you just think like maybe they could do it with the best players. So the thing is, right, it's actually also a good hot take, because it's actually not guaranteed Ash would be awesome at G2. Maybe actually when he isn't like scouting people out and picking them out, maybe he'd have more of a difficulty, I don't know, broaching big egos and things like that and making people fit together where you can't just get a new piece in it. So that he'd have to grow in that sense too. But the reason I think it's a good take is I actually sort of agree. I actually think Taz, if anything, would also have had way bigger impact if he was just coming in as like a rookie coach with things like getting to lands or going to your first major and giving people like mental frameworks. Or, by the way, he even himself, you could argue, they came up as unnobodies in 1.6 where they had to battle their way through just being a bunch of random Polish players that suddenly were like at the tournament scene and they were making big finals and stuff. And they were, if you don't know, they were like mentality monsters back then. They were one of the most hard teams ever to beat because they just sort of never mentally collapsed. They never choked on LAN, as it were. So I feel like he would have so much sort of veteran experience he could bring to the team. In terms of the Ash one, I do think that's a slam dunk. Like, the problem is this, as far as I know from talking to him, I've obviously done some shows with him, but I've asked him privately. The real problem he has is this, Kassad. Because he was at GamerLegion for so long, they actually have, I've heard, given him like way more leeway than anyone would get who's in that role there. Like, he sort of is sort of like the GM and coach, as far as I know, who decides everything now. And the problem is this, even though in our brains, I mean, he's done a lot to change this, but in my brain, GamerLegion, the brand, that's not even bigger than like OG to me or Big Clan or something, because I just think in Counter-Strike terms, you're nobody still. But the difference is, those projects, if he went to those projects, to us might look like a step up on the ladder, but as far as I know to him, it wouldn't be. Like, he'd probably get not any more money and he'd potentially have same grade of players, but he might have less control over the org. So basically, you're sort of right in this sense. As far as I know, to lead GamerLegion, he has to actually get a gig like a G2, and it has to be like a proper, like, this is the big gig. Like, I assume the obvious answers would be like Vitality, G2, FaZe Clan. These are the Na'Vi. These are the fucking teams where you could maybe go and actually have like the ultimate job. So, by the way, I'm totally in favour of that. I think he actually has. If you look at the last lineups,
you deserve the spot and you get it. And like,
and also, I'll just say this as well. Here's the other thing about his run as well, is I actually think it's comparable to yours with the Renegades teams, mate. If you look at all these rosters, you can't trip over and have these results that are above expectations. Like, you could do that with one roster if you got lucky, or you could do that with 1 3-month period where one player's really sick. Like, the obvious example of your case, Kassad, would be if your team had only been good when Naf had joined for those few months and he was doing great stats. Well, yeah, maybe just Naf was good. But then when Naf's gone and it's like Jacob and fucking like Liaz and stuff have to like pop off, that's how you know you must have done a good job. Like, you must have done, if you look at these people's careers before and after. So I would say, I think he has the best modern day example of that. Look at the rosters he's had. And lastly, here's the other reason why I agree with you, by the way. Now is why you have to get out now, because the window doesn't get any better than this. And in fact, what you just went through a couple of months ago is going to get really boring when it happens the 7th time in a row, which is, you know, the Flammus guy that you discovered and you realised could come from the Mega and be in your team, and he immediately got taken to Virtus Pro, right? That is only going to accelerate. The better the job this guy does in GamerLegion of showing you players are good and better than you thought, the more likely they immediately, like, I'll give you the obvious one right now. You're all loving this resurrection for Rez, aren't you? What are you going to do if they actually do make a Swedish super team? He's going to get instantly into that team. What are you going to do if they're in the big squad like a Fnatic and want a fucking Res type? They're going to be gone. So the problem you're going to have is you're going to get into the position my mate MSL used to be in, which is even if you make like an absolute miracle out of what you've got, it just then means the player gets taken somewhere else and you have to restart, and that gets really boring after a while. It's fun the first few times because you're showing your skill set. It gets boring eventually, feeling like, in sports terms, you're the small club who can never have the big signings, and even if you find one, he just goes to the big fucking team. So you just feel eventually like you're just pushing the boulder up the hill.
Yeah,
I'm with you. He's done it all already. Just get out there.
The thing is, like, he has outgrown the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, go and see if you are that good. You said David Moyes, like, he was good in Everton making all these results. I would say Erik ten Hag with Ajax, right?
Of course. By the way, he did deserve the shot initially. He just didn't do a good job.
And he deserved the shot. He shit the bed, whatever the fucking reason was. I don't know. Maybe it's the club, maybe it's him. But that's just the way it is. Yes. Like, David Moyes was 2009, was it? Something like that. But this happened like 2 years ago. And the same thing goes for him. And as far as Taz goes, go to a team where people won't see you as just a fucking person with headphones. Like, you know, nobody's talking about Taz saying that, like, he did something meaningful in any kind of situation for G2. If he went to a weaker team, that's what I told Jason as well when he went to Liquid. And Yanko did the same thing when he went to Miber or FaZe or whatever the fuck. Start small. Like, build your own coaching name by starting small. Or smaller, middle, whatever the fuck is it. Don't jump into a tier 1 organization that expects titles, and then even if you win titles, still the credit is gonna go to the players. If you lose titles, you're gonna be looked as a fraud, somebody who got there because of a friend. That's why you go and you start like something moderate, and you build yourself up, and then you get the proper shot. After that, you know, it's up to you.
See more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, you know, be a pleb and don't.